A plastic-eating insect was just discovered in Kenya. Specifically, it's the mealworm pictured right here, and that's not snow, that's actually polystyrene that it's eating through. And polystyrene is a plastic chemical that's very commonly used in temporary food storage or temporary storage in general. It's not styrofoam, as the article will point out. Styrofoam is patented by DuPont. But scientists in Kenya discovered an insect that actually eats and can survive off of this extremely abundant type of plastic pollution. And what's interesting about this is that traditional recycling methods like chemical and thermal processing are expensive and typically create pollutants when you're dealing with polystyrene. So the team was looking for new ways to get rid of the persistent polystyrene waste that just builds up in our environment, and they found that the larva of a lesser Kenyan mealworm can actually chew through polystyrene and host bacteria in their guts that break down the material. The lesser mealworm is the larval form of the Alphytobius, I hope, my God, I'm saying that right, or darkling beetle, which we can see right here. It's a very common type of beetle thought to have originated in Africa, but really lives all over the world. And its larval period is a mealworm like this, and the larva can actually digest polystyrene, which I find to be just profoundly interesting. Here's the actual study in case you really want to get into this. But we do talk a lot about gut microbes as well, because as many of you know, humans and other animals, a huge portion of the digestion that goes on in your body is managed by other bacteria, right? So what they were able to do is determine that yes, the larva can be fed, polystyrene or bran or a mixture of the two. And the mealworms that only ate polystyrene, they didn't do as good as the ones that also had some regular food, but they both ate polystyrene and absorbed this and processed this material, which is important because they can then study the insects and see the different levels of various gut bacteria. And they found the ones that were fed only polystyrene had much higher levels of these two types of bacteria that I'm not going to try to pronounce because I will butcher them. And there were also other types of bacteria that were abundant and known to produce enzymes capable of digesting plastic, which means for the next study, they want to study a whole bunch of other mealworms and various animals, and they're going to be directly studying the bacteria because maybe we don't need to feed all of our plastic to bugs. Maybe we can do it bacteria, which are even easier to cultivate and manage. So it's kind of a gross article, but honestly one that's super good for the environment.